Do you want to support me while also getting some cool WWE swag? Well, now you can, because I am an affiliate of WWEshop.com. Just head to the link in the description of this video, click that little bad boy, and it will bring up WWE Shop. Purchase as normal, whether it's shirts, whether it's championship titles, whether it's memorabilia, anything you want on WWE Shop, as long as you use my link, because doing so will give me a commission off your purchase. Therefore, you can support me and rep the WWE's latest swag all throughout their shop. So just head to the link in the description of this video, purchase as normal, and you're also supporting me.
Again, we go through phases of like one of us talks or none of us talk or we both talk when the countdown timer gets to 0.
I was like, oh, is he going to jump in first? I'm just going to let him go.
That time I was like, I wonder who's going to jump in first. And it was like a weird game
I
of
was looking
chicken.
at you and I was like, I was waiting for your mouth to move and I was like, is he going to say something? Because it's like this awkward silence.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't say anything. So how's your week been? How you been?
I've been off of work since when was my last shift? My last shift was last Wednesday, so when we recorded last. So I've had a week of just pure bliss. I haven't really done a lot. I've just kind of sat on my ass. I've streamed a lot on Twitch. I've watched a bunch of television. I'm doing really good. I'm having a nice, relaxing time. I mean, I'm going to gear up again in a couple of days because I got travel and stuff to do, so I'll be nice and gassed, but like this is like a nice like reset before Christmas, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. I'm completely the opposite at the moment, so which is good. I also am just looking at myself. I don't usually look at myself in this, but I need like a light here.
Yep, because you're looking. I was about to say you look like you're sunburnt.
I look like an Oompa Loompa. I feel like I'm going to start singing like a racially insensitive song about a girl that's just been sucked up a tube in some weird guy's factory. Again, you
there's
probably
there's a guy on TikTok, and he does like a Willy Wonka impersonation, but he's a very gay person. I can say that out loud, I guess. He's hella gay, but it's like if Willy Wonka was like hella gay, and it's kind of funny. He does one of like Professor Snape from Harry Potter as well, and it's like this little Bob, and he's like, it's funny.
Yeah, I tried to put a light.
Just one of those random TikToks, you know, that you just find. You're like, what is this? And then you click on the profile, and you're like, oh shit, they got a whole stick.
Yeah, I tried to put my phone light on, see if I could make some light, but
I've got a nice ring light, right, as you can probably tell, but I've got a nice ring light only because I stream all the time, so I need it, I guess. But you only do this show on video, don't you? The rest you do like on site, on location.
Yeah, that's right. But you know, it couldn't hurt to jazz this up a little bit.
Yeah, well, you got pops. So I see the Cody pop down there today.
Yeah, we're getting ready
and
for
you've
War
got
Games, so.
Oh yeah, War Games.
I almost put my Judgment Day T-shirt on, but I had to go with the Wrestling
You wear that Judgment Day T-shirt a lot, and it's one of wrestling merchandise is what it is. But that Judgment Day one is real good. I like that shirt.
Yeah, definitely.
Also, if you want to buy anything off WWE Shop, you can use my link. I get a commission.
That new Cody shirt, I'm going to be absolutely nailing that link for that new.
Thank you. I appreciate that. By the way, last week we talked about how you've gone Hollywood. You're a big time celebrity. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm gonna gas all of you guys at the Crowjet up for a little bit here. So I hope they all listen to this because I'm gonna be nice for a little while and not joke. You guys fucking crushed that on Monday night. You did all of you guys just collectively did a very good job at hosting an event, making it fun, making it engaging, and still covering what you needed to cover. Because listen, I don't mean this in a bad way or anything like this, but draft nights are what they are. Like, they're fine, but they can get very repetitive and very boring very fast. And you guys made it, it was like 3 hours, I believe, that went for. It was a long ass time. To get anyone to do anything for 3 hours is like, it's pretty ridiculous. I clocked in for most of the show, and for most of the time that I was watching, well, all of the time that I was watching for most of the stream, I was just in it. I was like, this is fine. And I wasn't even watching the draft at the same time. So you guys were keeping me informed of what was going on while still having a good time and stuff like that. So shout out to all you guys at the Crowjet. You did a wonderful job. I kind of regret not going now.
Yeah.
I was honestly gearing up to go on Monday, and then I was like, I'm going to sit on my couch and not drive for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So I decided to stay home. But you guys did a very good job, a really good job. So big props to all you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you on behalf of everyone. I don't want to speak for everyone, but
They'll probably
a lot of work.
Get fucked, Josh. What do you know?
A lot of work from Peter and Leighton and Connor, who Connor you wouldn't have seen on the stream, but he did most of the stuff behind the scenes, and Peter spent like 3 weeks setting up how to run all the cameras in and out and stuff like that. And Leighton does all the video and stuff and all the setup. And I sort of got there early to try help set up, and was distracted by going to try find Cream, and because he worked there, and so we just did all the fun stuff.
You go no, but yeah, okay. You're being humble ass Ray. But you guys, I can tell that you all work together in some way, shape, or form. You all bring something to the table. That's why you are all a part of that squad.
Yeah.
I know I'm just like an outsider looking in. It's easy for me to say, but like, you guys, I can, as someone who I'm not. Again, I don't want to make this sound like I hate talking about myself this way, but as someone who knows what it takes to, on a smaller scale, run something like that, or create an event like that, or even just on the video side of things, or the content, or just being entertaining, that takes a lot of effort, and it takes a collective effort from everybody. Everyone chips in, everyone does something to help. Sure, there's people that do different stuff, but it's a lot of people think that podcasting or just content is just, talking crap. And sure, there's an element of that in all of this. It's just having a chin wag with your friends. But there's a lot of work and there's a lot of effort that goes into the stuff that you guys created on Monday night. So as someone who is in the content world and has been doing content for 6.5 years and has created events and done different things and have been a part of 2K stuff and all the stuff that I've done, I know how hard that is. And you guys should like pat yourselves on the back for all of the stuff that you've done, because you did a wonderful job.
Yeah, thank you. I was quite happy with it. We had a good time. I mean, by the end of it, I was like listening to some of it going, what is happening right now?
There was bits of it that I was like, this is an absolute chaotic time in a good way. Yeah. But I was like, this is madness.
Yeah, definitely. A massive shout out though to Loz from, if you're in Adelaide, you know her from Rudits and Loz, #1 Triple M breakfast radio show here in Adelaide. We asked her to come on because she's interacted a few times with our social media pages. And so we asked her to come on. She didn't have to, of course. She came on, and what I've learned in my little time doing this with the guys is you don't know what you're going to get. And me and Peter spoke about this, and maybe we can speak to him a bit more because he's going to come on next week. He used all his brownie points with his wife on Monday night to get that all done. So the thing that we was talking about is you don't know with those sorts of people if they're going to come on. She didn't need to come on, and she could have got there and gone, look, I've got 20 minutes, then I've got to go. I've got to get up. I've got breakfast radio in the morning. And then she could have got there and sat with us and been very straight up and down, didn't want to say anything too bad, rah. She sat with us for 2 hours and just talked utter garbage with us and was so much fun, was so funny, so engaging, just like played along with everything we were doing amazingly. And then the next morning, I don't know, you might have seen the socials clips, but the next morning she went on to her #1 rated breakfast show in Adelaide, and she was getting the piss taken out of her a little bit with it, but started talking about us on the radio and how she was with us for the draft night special. And then they did a bit of digging and pulled out a whole bunch of clips from the stream the night before and played them on Triple M a couple of times in the last couple of days about Loz at the draft special. So she was absolutely phenomenal. And massive credit to her as well, because she was so much fun to have on there. And then the exposure she's given us since then is
it's insane, and it's good. You guys are a very hard, working group of people. Again, I am very much on the outside of things. I'm not involved in any of this stuff, so I don't have to say any of this stuff just because I know some of you guys and I'm friends with some of you guys. Just I'm taking away like personal opinions of you guys as people and just putting on my like creator hat. I like admire the work you do. Like that's something that I would love to, do on an aspect of what I do to get that kind of exposure, to get that kind of just a very the kind of community, I guess you could say, that you've built within that and stuff like that is pretty special. Also, as a person who's had guests on, podcasts and that previously, it sounds great on paper. You're like, yes, I would love to talk to this person. Sign me up. You don't know if you're going to have any kind of chemistry with that person. You don't know what kind of, it doesn't just, it's like a podcast is like you're meeting someone for the first time. You really don't know if you're going to click. You don't know what you can and what the boundaries are, what you can talk about, what you can't talk about. It's very hard. And sometimes it goes great and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they have 5 minutes. Sometimes they have all day. Like for the most part, when you're listening to a podcast, especially small independent podcasts, the people that they're getting on are not doing this for money. They're doing this. Yeah. It's completely free, and they're really doing you a favor. They do not have to do this and stuff like that. So, it sounds great on paper and everyone's like, oh yeah, you just grab this person plays, tennis and you love tennis. You just get that person on. It's like, it's not just a simple process like that. You've got to, it's uncomfortable, by the way, to ask people to come on your fucking podcast. It's really awkward. Like there's nothing worse than when you want to hammer someone, you're like, oh, actually, you want to, like, some people aren't into being on camera. Some people are, some people, whatever it may be. So it takes a small army to create something like you guys have done and did with that. And yeah, it's just, it's cool to see, just as a friend of a lot of you guys, and then as a fellow creator, whatever you want to call me, as weird as that sounds to say, but I understand what goes into that. Like my brain watches that and is entertained, but then I also have the part of my brain that's like, whoa, that camera angle and doing this, and I understand what it's like to get everyone's levels. Just something as simple as volume on a microphone, like it's very difficult to operate that situation, and doing it live, by the way, not easy.
No, that's right, especially with some of the problematic stuff I say sometimes. But
I'll say
I don't think it's that problematic, really. It's just jarring, I guess is the word for it.
It's just very blunt.
Yeah, it just gets you off guard. I say it and people are like,
you're like, whoa,
that just happened.
One day we'll do a live show of this, and I'll be like on the fucking other end, like, oh my fucking God. You see how stressed I get? You've watched my Twitch streams. I get stressed doing that, and there's 8 people watching. My God.
On this, while we're keeping up, I might as well
please
ask you this, because it just
in content mode.
Yeah, it just popped into my head talking about this. How do you go with self-promotion? Because as you just heard me deflect it from myself, sort of thing, I really struggle with that. And I've been thinking a lot about it, and in this, let's call it a game. In this game, the trying to create game, you really need to be a big self-promoter in a way, but that just does not come natural to me at all. Like I'm very self-deprecating, so I'd rather go, oh, I'm shit, and make a joke out of it rather than be like, oh shit, come and watch this. So
it's a fine line, my friend. There's a fine line, because I'm like you too. I'm like, oh, I'm no good. Like, don't worry. But also, I don't know. I think what I've done, doing something for now 6 years, and going through all different avenues of content and what I've done in the time and blah 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 blah. The first like 3 or 4 years that I did this, I was like, I'm terrible. Don't listen to me. I was just kind of like, bleh. then I just kind of got to a point, I'm like, no, some of the stuff that I do is really good. And I know that it's really good because I believe that it's good.
Yeah.
Now, do I convey that sometimes the best way? No, I'm always just like, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
I'm fucking stupid, all that kind of stuff. But I always believe that the people that are doing the best work don't necessarily have to tell you they're doing their best work.
No.
Their work just kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of, and there's always going to be times that I'm just like, I'm really proud of this. I think you should really check this out, or this is fun. Like, I think you have a lot. Sure. That kind of stuff is different, but I just kind of I hope that people not find me. I still have to promote myself, but I hope that when people find me, they're like, oh, I kind of get the vibe of what this person's trying to do. Let me stick around. That's the kind of best way that I deal with it. But it is weird because I view everybody that's doing, even if it's just simply like a TikTok. I was like, oh, that person's so much funnier, so much more natural than me.
Yep.
But then you got to remember that there's probably, if you're thinking about that about someone else, someone is thinking that about you. They're like, oh, this person is so much better than me. And it just goes down the train. It's just a vicious cycle. Because really, what I do, content wise, whether it is like a podcast or Twitch streaming or creating my videos that I do or blah, 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 whatever I do, everything is competition in a way. I'm like, oh my God, why would this person not want to watch me over this person? And it's just, I've just got to let my personality show through and let my stuff speak for itself. Like I've always kind of just, in the last couple of years, at least, I've kind of honed in on that and just kind of like, it'll happen the way it's meant to happen. And, I've been pretty lucky in the time that I've had with content and stuff like that to be noticed by certain things and certain people and be involved in some pretty cool things. And like, I never thought when I started 6 years ago that at the beginning of this year, I'd be flown out by 2K to go and play a wrestling game early and record content for it, go to the 2K headquarters and be able to, be one of the 6 people selected to do that. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I never thought that would happen. Like, I'm proud of that. And I'm very much like, okay, there's a reason I was selected for that. And there was a reason why I was chosen to do that. Yes. And my work speaks for itself. But also, I'm just very much in the sense of like, oh my God, there's so many people that are better than me that deserve that spot over me. So there's a very fine line, but I never in my wildest dreams thought any of that kind of stuff. So I have to find that line. I have to self-promote and be like, no, well, I am deserving of this spot. And so whatever, but it's difficult. It's very difficult.
Yeah. That's why I find it, I don't know, I find it easier to make social media posts or anything like that from the Project account or from like the rare occasion that I do it for ours, which should be more often, I know, because
I should do it more often too.
We are just, I mean, we're both busy. It's that time of the year, but I find it easier to do it on something like that because it's a little bit faceless, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're almost hiding behind.
Yeah, not that
you're hiding behind. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Not that I'm not proud of it. It's more like I'm always like, oh, no one wants to hear what I have to say. It's like my whole social media.
You're like creating a post or something like that. You can kind of go like, oh, well, they don't know for certain that it's me writing this. So
exactly.
I can kind of try my thing out here and see if it works. And then if it doesn't, it's like, well, it wasn't me, you can almost kind of hide behind that. And I get that. I understand that. I've gotten to the point with just me as a person and I don't know, with that kind of stuff, with social media and just like, I hate this word, but the brand that I've created, I solely base it on me as a person. So like, I kind of feel like there's a certain expectation with the way that I present myself. So I kind of, weirdly enough, like if I was faceless behind a profile, not saying that I couldn't do it. I could do it very easily and probably do it very well. But I almost rely on me being the person saying it to get the message across.
Yeah. Like, I've always thought, like, I'm like, one day I'm just going to have a crack. I'm just going to, put myself out there. But I'm always like, nah, no one wants to. This is shit.
No, you would get really over really fast, Ray, because you're not like the typical generic person.
See, this is also because I don't know. This is going to sound so wanky, and we're having a real love fest on ourselves at the moment, which is probably a good thing because I've had a pretty shit day. But I pride myself on being able to make people laugh. I love making people laugh, and I love
Same.
But so the first ever podcast I did was with my cousin, and we grew up quite close. And I always thought like I could make him laugh, but I could make him laugh anyway because I know him so well, and I can target certain areas with him that I know I'm going to get a reaction out of, if you know what I mean. So I was always like, I'm not actually that funny. I just know how to make my friends laugh, basically, because I know them, and people that I know, I can make them laugh because I know them. But the first time I went onto the project, and I was like, I knew one person there, and there was 4 other people on that night, and I didn't know them at all. I didn't know anything about them, and I could still make them laugh and laugh hard. I was like, okay, maybe part of me does have a funny side, or I've got a good sense of humor that I can get people with, and I've slowly turned that up over being on there, and yeah, so sort of am getting there. I think maybe I should do like a month challenge, and I should go for a month where I constantly post twice a day on a channel of something and see how it goes. We can do a little social experiment.
If I had to post twice a day, I may jump into incoming traffic. That's like 46 less than I do on a normal day. I post so much in a day. It's ridiculous, but I do it too much. But no, that is like it's weird because I pride myself on my sense of humor. I'm like, if I can offer nothing to a situation, I know that I can be funny. I hate this about myself. It's a flaw, and I understand. But like, even when I'm looking at friendships, relationships, whatever it may be, I'm like, you can be prettier than me. You can be taller than me. You can be, more, you can be the healthiest person in the world. It wouldn't matter to me. But if you're funnier than me, that's the only time that I feel like I then can't offer anything. I'm like, well, what the fuck have I got to offer if you're funnier than me?
Do you know what?
So it's weird that I'm like that. But
do you know what? I find it like one of the most attractive qualities. If someone can genuinely make me laugh, it puts them like way up in my levels. Like, if you can genuinely get me to belly laugh just by being yourself, then yeah, you got a tick in my book.
Yeah, no, listen, I like being around funny people, but it's when I can't offer anything to the situation. Okay. That's when I'm just like, well, what am I here for? Because I'm certainly not here for anything else. So like, my humor is the only thing that's got going for me.
Yeah.
I want someone to be funny, but not funnier than me. So I know it's a genuine flaw of mine, but I don't know why I can't help it. But yeah, it's interesting just to be what you offer as a person, especially in your situation where it's different when it's just, 2 people like just chit-chatting here, but you're in a group sometimes of 6, 7, 8, 9 people on a podcast. You got to find your kind of spot within that. That must be very difficult. I've had the joy of being on the Crowjet once, but it was just with you and Peter. So it's like a little easier to navigate. I'm like, well, this is where I slot in and say what I need to say. I couldn't imagine sitting in a room with you with like 6 or 7 of you. I'd be like, I don't know when I can talk.
I get into situations like that, and I'm just like, hold on, because I'm such like an attention whore when it comes to that sort of thing. And I'm like, listen to what I've got to say and rah, rah. But I think like things like that, it depends on the situation, right? So the project would be completely different for me, especially if it was like trying to be an analysis show, if you know what I mean. But it's such a fun environment where we just are there to create that community and give you, a few mates that want to talk about footy occasionally, but get sidetracked and talk about the things that you want to talk about. Do you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
the fingering gear I went up
Oh,
on
I get
about on Monday night probably wasn't what everyone wants to talk about, but do you know what I mean?
That's my favorite kinds of podcasts though, is just like the ones where you just like start somewhere and then you just end up somewhere else. I'm like, that's because I just like listening to conversations. But I get what you mean. Like I do, for the majority of my stuff that I do within my content, whatever I do, it's humor, it's funny, it's just like the stuff I'm doing is just kind of like a side piece to me just being a moron, really, but I mean that in an endearing way. But there is stuff that I do that is very serious, and it's there's no humor, and it's just like straight shoot, like, and I like doing that sometimes, and I've honestly got more success out of that stuff for the most part than I really ever have doing the stuff that I just enjoy a little bit more. But not saying I don't enjoy that, it's just different. But it's very interesting. It's a very interesting thing to think about when you. I don't really think about content in the sense of like, oh, this is what I create. I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm just bitching around on Twitch and, you know, doing the stuff. And I just happened to be noticed by a few people that I was very lucky to be in. It's all about timing and luck and all of that kind of stuff. So I was just lucky.
It's like finding your thing also. Like,
yeah, true. Yeah, I have my audience. Majority of the stuff that I create is within the professional wrestling world, and I've kind of, at the very beginning of content, me and Ray wouldn't even have linked up because I wouldn't talk about anything else on the internet but that. But then my problem was, after a couple of years, I'm like, I want to talk about other things. I want to play other games on Twitch. I want to just be myself as a person a little bit different just outside the wrestling. And then I got in the zone of like, well, nobody wants to hear me talk about anything but professional wrestling, blah, blah, blah. And then one day I just said, well, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's just do other stuff. And then I kind of branched out and did other things and wasn't afraid to kind of do it. And then I came out and then everything just changed anyway. So it was fine.
Yeah.
So that just kind of, I was just like, well, I'm just a person now. So I don't know. I don't really consider myself like a wrestling. I'm just a person who happens to like wrestling, that plays a lot of wrestling games.
Yeah.
But I kind of am multi, you know, whatever I can kind of do. I'm in the zone with my content now where I can pretty confidently just be like, I can play, I can create whatever I want to do. You're kind of not here for that. You're here for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm interested about that sort of thing because I do want to try. Maybe I do an uncomfortable challenge. I've been trying to think of things where I can challenge myself to put myself in uncomfortable positions for myself, because at the moment I'm in such a rut with work and stuff like that. So if I can find something to give myself a little bit of a spark of like, okay, I'm going to set myself 2 a day. If it's 2 posts a day to start with for 2 weeks,
do it
and see where I get to. I might give myself a week. I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to use this to keep myself accountable. And I'm doing it again. I always do this on the project when I have a microphone. I always play with the knobs on the side. And
I'm always touching this thing.
But so this time next week, I'm going to come on and I'm going to give you a little snapshot of what I'm going to try for a month on social media. Because I think you've got to find your lane. I just can't be, I don't know. I can't go everywhere. There. But give me a week. This time next week, I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm going to come back with a little plan of attack of how I'm going to do it.
Hell yeah.
And then I'm going to do a month of twice a day posts and see how I go.
Hell yeah. I'm down for that. I feel like you'll enjoy it more than you think. You'll be like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I think I like this. Before I want to talk about some more stuff, but we probably should generate a question because it's been like 30 minutes.
Yeah, I know. This is what we do. I
know it is.
I was literally thinking, I was like, I don't know if I've got much to talk about today. Hang on. Random number generator. Here we go. 140 is the number today.
Such a even number. What is 140?
I don't
is
think
it a bitch question?
It's a shit. What's the last book you quit reading and why?
Bro, you think I read?
I love reading. Audiobooks, but
Audiobooks are different.
yeah, I'm gonna.
But if I read, I'm not wasting my time. Like, I'm gonna read it all.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and audiobooks. I feel like I just like people reading to me. It's like I've got a maid or something, or a housekeeper, just paying them to read to me.
A housekeeper.
Okay, this one's all right. So it's 279. What are you doing when you feel most alive?
Most alive.
Yeah.
Whoa. I guess that's just like what gets you most excited. I guess like what keeps you going, does it?
I don't know. I was more taking
what is most alive really?
Because the way that I took it was like the moment when you like what you're doing when you feel most like present, like right in the moment, like you're not anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? I find that is like the most alive, where it's like I could not be anywhere else in the world right now. You know, a lot of the time I struggle with. A lot of the time I'll be in a conversation or in a meeting or in a whatever, but I'm in like 10 different places in my head.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome to ADHD land.
But it's like, not even like just because I can't help it, but because the situation in front of me is like, I'm not that invested in it. So like the less invested I'm in it, it's like I'm off somewhere else. But to me, when I feel most alive, it's like I'm fully in, nothing in my head is like anywhere else.
All right.
But that's just my interpretation.
No. That kind of like sparked a few things for me to be like, actually, when I'm actually most present, when I'm not really thinking about anything else and I'm just like, I'm here and I'm enjoying this.
Mm-hmm.
I have a few things, but the first one would be at a concert.
Yes.
Because I'm just like, fuck yeah, this is what I want to be. I'm fucking vibing. I'm just having a good damn time. I'm not thinking about like, oh, I got to get up tomorrow and the grind of life. I'm just in it. I'm just having a good freaking time.
Yeah.
Just enjoying myself. So that would be the first.
Do you know what my favorite thing about a concert, and to your point of adding to like the I'm here, I'm present, I don't care about anything, is when you can feel the music. Do you know what I mean? Like, because a concert's
you feel it
so loud, you feel it like shaking your internal organs.
I love it. There's nothing bad. And you walk out of that thing and you can't hear anything. Like, I can't wait for that on Monday.
Yeah.
I cannot wait just to be in that zone.
Yes.
Like, I haven't been to a concert in a hot minute. I really haven't been before COVID, to be completely honest, because like just all of that stuff. But I cannot wait to feel that feeling on Monday night where I'm just like, oh, yes. So a concert would be the first one.
Yeah. Concert's a great one.
Not to get too weird, but another time where I probably feel like that, where I'm not thinking about anything else for the brief time, is probably sex.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm just thinking about the target. Well, that's a weird way to say that. But
that is a weird way to say that.
That's a weird way to say that, but that's all I'm thinking about, even if it's just brief.
Yeah.
Not really thinking about anything else. I'm like, woohoo, this is great.
Yeah, that's true. Do you know what? Talk about the Project people before. We were all talking rubbish.
I love how sex made you think of the Project people.
When you hear where this conversation went, you'll understand. So, a friend of our show as well, Elodie, our first guest, and I were talking about how guys always get asked if they're tits or ass guys. But what's the equivalent for gay men or women? Like, do you say, are you like a dick guy or a balls guy, or are you like?
No, you'd be surprised. People say, are you an ass gay man or are you a dick? Because then it gets into the other conversation of what you prefer to do. So that's always fun, because that's like, I'm not even kidding. Sometimes you can be talking to a man on a dating app and you'll be like, hello. And they're like, are you a top or are you a bottom? And I'm like, bro, I'm eating breakfast. Like, you don't need to know this right now. It'll come up if it needs to come up. It's fucking brutal. But yes, some people will be like, are you a dick guy? Are you an ass guy? Like, and then the conversation flows from there. So yes, it is It's the equivalent of, are you a tits guy? Are you an ass guy?
Yeah, see, I didn't
I
know
mean,
if that was
even
equivalent.
here's the thing though, what people don't understand. I'm not going to speak for every gay man in the world, but I still love boobs.
Okay.
Boobs are a great time. Now, I don't want to like, get all up in them, but I can still appreciate a very nice set of boobies. Trust
Okay.
me.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Trust me. I can be like, that girl's got a great rack, and I'll just be
Yeah.
like, hell yeah. But the difference is I actually, unlike a lot, not all straight men, but a lot of straight men, I actually respect the woman that's on them. So,
Wow, you're painting me in a picture here.
not you, Ray, but some straight men. Trust me, I've sat around a group of boys and they're just like, and I'm like, what's your problem here?
Yeah.
But then, granted, a very attractive man will walk in and I'll just be like,
Yeah.
so,
I feel like
but yeah,
I
it is the same thing.
okay. No, that's very good to know. I wasn't sure because we were talking about it. I was like, I actually just don't know if that's even a thing. But why would I know? I guess. Anyway, so what makes me feel alive? Do you know what makes me feel really alive? We've been speaking about it all the time. Is like on Monday night when I'm just with a group of people and I'm just like, this is going to sound so wanky, but I'm just on. I'm like, I want
No, I get it.
everyone's attention right now. Because I'm not like that usually at all. I'm a pretty reserved sort of person. Like, I'm not.
It gets your blood flowing. It gets you going. It's kind of
Yeah.
like, hell yeah, this is keeping me breathing right now.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not overly opinionated, but like I've got things that I care about, but I'm not overly like overt with I need to tell you my opinion on everything. But if I'm like holding court and I've got people laughing and I've got people's attention, I'm like, okay, now we're here. Now we're cooking. And I'm just like, where's this going to go? And in a way, I'm not even thinking because if you really hear what I say, I haven't thought about that. It just comes out. And so like I'm right there. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm not planning anything in my head. I'm not trying to find a way to say anything. I'm not trying to get an agenda across. I'm just there and I'm just speaking and I'm just, laughing.
No, I get it. I understand that. It's crazy how your brain is wired, and it's just like, oh, this is what gets me from A to B. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people don't like that. Some people don't mind big groups, but they don't like being the focal point of it.
Yeah.
I'm probably floating in the middle of that. Sometimes I'm like that, where I'm like, it just depends. It takes me a minute to get in that zone. Like if I'm in a group of people, especially larger groups of people, and I may not know everyone that well, it takes me a minute. I'm like a little like, but then once I start kind of sensing the energy of everyone else, that's when I kind of probably am more like you. But some people can't stand that. They hate it. So
yeah, no, I agree. A lot of the time I'm like, so say I'm in a big meeting at work, I won't talk my opinion too much. I'll just let it go past. If someone asks my opinion, I'll give it. Or if someone asks me a question, I'll answer it. But I'm not going to go out of my way to take over the meeting. And like, I find it quite awkward when people do. But like, if it's something like that where I'm like, I just feel like people are here to see me, which is so stupid. It's so wanky.
No,
but I'm like,
I get it.
And then also like, because we've been playing AFL 9s with a few of the Patreons from the project. It's like people say stuff back to me. I'm like, oh, I forgot I said that. Oh shit! How do you know I said that? Or stuff like that. I'm like, that one gets me as well. So yeah, I would say that's when I feel most alive is when I'm sort of holding court and just in the zone,
I get it.
in the moment. I guess is what
I get it.
say.
You mentioned before, I just thought of this to say this again because I forgot, but you said you're feeling a little bit in a rut, like you're just kind of like stuff is just, does it kind of just feel like life is just kind of happening and you're just like, oh, this is just, everything's just kind of happening around me at the moment? Because that's where I am very much so, have been for quite a while. honestly, in the last like month or so, I've really started to actually go, oh, I'm a little stuck with a lot of things. The same thing is happening every single day. I'm just kind of, the gears are moving.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely moving.
Yeah.
I'm not like, depressed or anything like that.
Mm.
But, the gears are just kind of clogging along. I'm just kind of having my thing. I've been really, really, really stuck in like where I live a lot lately. Like I need to make a little bit of a change. I'm very, very, as I've stated many times, I'm very, very single, but that also has to do with where I live because I live in a smaller area. It's just not happening for me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of,
Yeah.
rinsing and repeating a lot of the same interactions I'm having with different people and, dating life and all of that kind of stuff. It's just the same stuff is just happening over and over. There's two sides of me at the moment where I'm in. I'm like, I am in the zone where I want to pack up everything I own, get on a plane, and just move from everybody and everything that I know and just kind of be like, I need a fresh start, no security blankets. I just need to do my thing.
Yeah.
The other part of me is like, hold on, it could be a lot worse than what I am
Yeah.
right now. So I'm comfortable and I'm going to stay here forever. I think it's a lot of the point of the way my brain works and stuff like that, or how I've realized is that I'm turning the page on an age this weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm like, time, it's not like time I can get any time back. I'm only gonna get older and I'm only gonna be like, and I don't want to get to that point where I'm like, well, now I'm too old and I'm just stuck doing what I'm doing. Like I like my job, but that's probably other than like my mom and my sister and, my brother-in-law, I don't really have any other family. So like I like my job. I like being close to my mum. But other than that, there's absolutely no reason for me to be in the same spot that I've lived in since I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
It's difficult. But then all the other things you start to think about, I'm like, I don't have the money to even consider moving right now.
Yeah.
But then there's always like, well, I already have no money. I may as well go have no money and try something else. So there's always like different reasons of just like why, there's a million reasons not to do something, as Jan from The Office says. So like, I'm just kind of in that zone of like, I want to do something, but I don't necessarily know what that something is. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very, 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 I'm just feeling a little glued to a lot of situations at the moment.
I know what you mean, but in a very different way. So I don't know, I always feel bad complaining about this. But so my rut is like I go to my job, which I've been in for next year's 10 years. I've been in the same job. Well, not the same job, but the same company. And I've worked my way up to a point now where there's probably nowhere more for me to go. Also, I don't want to go any further. Like, I know where I want to be in life, but where I've gotten to in life before that has narrowed my opportunity to get to where I want to go. So, like, I've always said that I want to be in radio and I want to be creative and I want to be. But if I was 21 and had no responsibilities, I could quit my job, go get a part-time job somewhere and make it work. Just grind my absolute dick off on community radio, doing as many shifts as I could, just getting as much into it as I could. But I can't do that. One, I've got Rory to worry about. Two, I've got a mortgage to worry about. So even like the thought of finding a new job, I'm limited to that as well.
Terrifying.
Not even that it's terrifying, but I'm limited because I've got a mortgage, I've got stuff to pay for. I can't take a pay cut. And I've got myself to a point where I earn quite a good living. So it's like I'm limiting myself in other opportunities I can take. I'm trying to get somewhere, but I'm having to find another way around it. So that's where the rut comes in for me, because I feel like I'm just trying to find an option where it's like I don't know where it's coming from, and I don't know, like, I've got to keep trying these things, but I also got to try find the time to find all these things. And it's just like, you just get up in the morning, you go to work, and then like, I love doing the project stuff, but like, I didn't get home till 11:30 on Monday night. So then I wake up the next morning at 5 to get ready to go to work until 5. And then, do you know what I mean? So it's just the same thing. Also, I've found that I feel very happy when I'm being creative and I'm trying to be funny and I'm trying to mince my words and I'm trying to do all that. But nothing in my job is creative. So it's like, you just get to work and you're like, this is so boring to me. Like, I could literally go to work half asleep and still carry out my job to the same level, because it doesn't require any thinking. It doesn't require anything. It just requires me to show up and put in some sort of effort. But, and so that's where I feel a bit ruddish. It's like,
Dude, I feel it. I feel it because I work the best when I'm using my creative brain and when I can kind of tap into that kind of showmanship that I know that I do have and that I feel most comfortable doing. And again, I like my job. I do. It is very rewarding, but I use none of that. There's no aspect of that in my job, and I know that I personally don't want to lose that about myself either. No. My dream, I wish that content and stuff like that would generate some form of an income for me where I could just do that. I would happily do that every single day, and I would be a very happy person because I'm utilizing that. It's challenging. I can kind of be that creative being that I am while being entertaining and flustering that part of me, but I'm just not doing that a lot because I'm just so wiped from work that I have no time to do more of that. I like you, I would love to be on radio, a breakfast show, a drive home show, something like that. That is like 101, exactly what I want to do. But like you, it's not like I can just go, well, you know what? I'm going to pack up my shit, move to the city. I'm going to get like the crappiest job I can find, be unhappy in that, and then try and figure out how the fuck I'm going to pay rent and pay bills. Like, it's not just something that I can do. I'm very grateful that I work part-time, but I'm paid very well at my job that I can, I work in a pretty high stress situation of a job. It's not the easiest job in the world. But it's rewarding in that aspect of like I'm helping people and stuff like that. But I'm not utilizing the best part of me. And I know that the best part of me is my creative side. It's always been that. I've always had that within me. Like, I can just think of stuff and I can get stuff from here to whatever it may be in whatever aspect I'm doing. And it's just kind of fading away because I can't utilize it every day, which sucks. I wish I could find a job. But then again, it all comes back for me where I live. It's like there's not a lot of opportunity to do that in the place that I live. So I don't really know what that is, but it happens to me all the time. I go through different spouts of it and just like, oh, it feels worse sometimes, feel better sometimes. And listen, I'm not, it's not a pity party. I don't hate to the point. There's aspects of where I live and what I do that I adore. And I'm like, oh, I'm very lucky to have that kind of, at my back door, really. But there's other things that I'm just like, I would love to be able to do different kinds of stuff and whatever it may be. But wow, I get it. It is what it is. But I know a lot of mine at the moment is just because I'm getting a little older. I'm getting closer and closer to 30. I think everyone does it in their 20s where they get to their late 20s and they're like, uh-oh, I'm nearly that big 3-0. And then you get to your 30s and I'm sure it's fine. But,
it's fine.
It's normal to feel like this, I guess. But anyway, on to brighter pastures and brighter things. I do turn 28 on Saturday. I'm having a big old time. Me and old mate Benny Mac.
Yeah,
Benny Mac.
Was talking to them and Soph on Tuesday night, Monday night, or both probably. But
yeah, we're doing stuff on Saturday for my birthday, doing like an escape room. We're gonna go bowling, have a nice lunch. Like, we're just gonna have a good day And there's
Are
not a
you around the
huge group of
city?
us. It's like, yeah, I know the clips, the 500's on.
No, I'm gonna be in there as well, so we might finally get to catch up.
Please tell me, because I'll be in the city. We're gonna do some stuff there, and just yeah, it's not a big group of us. It's just like a small group, which I like. Like it's just close friends, and then yeah, I'm off to Melb's on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And then Paramore on Monday night. So you know, I'm just gonna enjoy myself and do what I do. But yeah, another year, I guess. It feels weird. Like every year that it comes, it's you guess less and less excited for a birthday. I guess because you're just like,
Yeah.
uh.
I've never
It's not
really
like I'm 20.
celebrated birthdays.
I do and I don't. Like my celebration is just like a couple of friends over for a barbecue. That kind of let's play some PlayStation. Like I don't do big, huge. I've never really been one to do big, huge parties. I'm sure I will at some point for maybe my 30th in a couple of years or something. I'd like to do a bigger thing, but usually mine is just like, hey, you want to come over and have dinner and like play Jackbox and then go home at 10 o'clock and go to sleep? That's what I want to do.
My ideal birthday is everyone forgets and just leaves me
That
alone for
too.
the day, and it just is like over it. It doesn't really matter to me at all. So that's So I've got a funny story about my week last week actually, because we've gone quite deep and meaningful. So the end of the week last week, I was out with one of the better parts of my job. I go around and I meet with contractors and consultants and stuff, and just sort of I joke around with the other people at my work that I'm the face of the place, because I just go around and just say hello, get to know them a bit, see if anything they need, or if we've got a supplier coming over, I take them there, and this is what they offer, so sort of thing. So I was doing that with a supplier and the new CEO of our company who wanted to meet some of our bigger customers. And there's a customer at work who they got messed around by a guy that used to be employed by us. And so they were like, we're never going to buy off of you again unless we get to deal with one person and we trust that one person. That one person happened to be me. So like I'm in charge of making sure that they don't leave. So basically do what they need to do to not leave. So I've got to know a couple of the guys there quite well, and we've become quite friendly because, might as well be. And they're quite good to deal with, really, apart from being a bit of hard work sometimes. But one of the guys, he's called me a couple of times because I just say, like, to customers that I like, I'll give them my mobile number and be like, just call me. Because if I'm not at my desk, it's going to be a pain trying to call you back. Just call me. And so he calls my mobile, and a couple of times he's called me, and I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm not at work today. I'm like annual leave or whatever. He's like, oh, gosh, you always have annual leave days, which is not true at all. But the occasional, like, it just seems every time I've ever had an annual leave day, he'll call me. So he always calls now, and he'll be like, oh, you at work? And I'm like, yes, I'm at work. He's like, oh, I just didn't know if you're having another sick day or whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm at work. He's like, oh, okay. And now I've started doing it to him because I called him once and he's like, I'm in Bali. I'm like, well, why'd you answer the phone?
Yeah.
So now we always start the conversation with, are you at work? You at work? Yes, I'm at work. But anyway, so we're in there and the CEO's talking to the boss and their commercial manager, and they're going to him, oh, look, your prices have gone up a bit. We don't really want to use you, but we know the service that we're going to get from Ray. So we come back every time because we know that we can rely on him, and we know that he's one of the best in the industry to give you the best service, rah. And it was like all a bit of a love fest for me. One of the guys was like, you should pay him $15,000 more. But this other guy, Daniel, who's like the one that we always joke around, he must have just been like, this is getting a bit too much positive Ray feedback. So he goes, yeah, I agree. But if you could control his sick days that he has all the time to the new CEO of my company.
Oh, God.
I just started cracking up laughing. I'm like, that is brilliant. You absolutely rinsed me there.
Oh, my
But
God.
so good.
Washed. Hell yeah. Oh, hell. Um, what was I gonna? I was just like in the middle of that story. I was like, oh, I better talk about that.
Mm.
Don't know what it was. Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? I mean,
who knows?
we've talked about
What was I? What did I really get up to? Where it's obviously Wednesday when we're recording like we normally do, and because like every day's rolled into one since I've been off work for a week, I'm kind of just like, what did I actually do today? What did I do yesterday? Like, I've streamed a lot on Twitch. Other than that, I really haven't done much but sit on my couch and watch Modern Family. I will note something. I've always been like, well, not always, with my job, I've always been kind of like, well, since starting this job that I've been in now for like a year and a bit, I go to bed early, get up early because I'm just in that zone.
Yeah.
I have noticed when you sit down and you do nothing all day, you do not go to sleep early.
Really?
I have been staying up so late the last few nights, like, and then waking up late, and it is so odd because that's how I used to be. At my old job, I used to work late, so like I would go to sleep at like 2 or 3 in the morning and then wake up at like 11. That used to be my life, and I'm like, I'm not doing that by any stretch of the words, but like, I'm waking up at like, I got out of bed on Monday morning at 9:30. What the fuck?
I can't do that. I'll go.
Oh, I didn't think I could anymore either, but I did it, and it was kind of great.
I always wake up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock every single day, on the weekends, everything. Even during the holidays, kids probably doesn't help with that, but because they're up early all the time.
Well, your body clock just wakes you up. Like, I would always wake up between 6 and 7 is usually where I kind of arise from my slumber. But yeah, I've been staying up a little later, just been playing a lot of PlayStation, watching a lot of TV, just bullshitting. I've really been doing not a lot. Like, and I mean that in a good way. Like, I've just needed a kind of bit of a break from everything.
Yeah.
But like, like, I've just been sitting up. I'm like, oh, another episode of this. I'll do this again. Like, just bitching along. It's been fucking wonderful.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it all the time. Like, I'm sure I'll be kind of glad I got my travel to break things up because it'll just change my dynamic a little bit. Then I've got about 5 days when I get home from Melbourne before I go back to work. So like, I'm sure probably by this time next week, I'll probably be like, nah, I need to like get myself back into a rhythm and a schedule here to go back to work. But like, I've enjoyed the last few days. Like, it's been wonderful just to be like, I have no commitments. Like, I've truly just needed to wake up some days and be like, what am I doing today? I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. See, I like that. I'm so in need of a holiday at the moment. So, yeah, I can understand. But I don't think I stay up pretty late I don't know if up pretty late, between sort of 10 and 11 most nights.
Is that, see, that to me is usually when I'm usually showered and in bed by 10. Okay. And then I usually like wind down and then I go on my phone for a little bit and then usually I'm asleep by like 11. And then I'd be up at like 6:30. The moment that's not really how it's happening, I'm going into bed at like midnight and then falling asleep by like 1. Okay. Which is it changes your day a lot, just the way that you operate and the way that you get up later and it takes you a little bit longer. I find a little bit longer to get rolling with the day. Like, I find when I wake up between 6 and 7, I've gone to bed by, let's say, 11 at the latest. I'm asleep by 11, up by, say, 7. Like, I'm out of bed. Like, I'm straight out of bed. Let's, have some breakfast, blah, 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 blah. But when you, like, wake up later and stuff like that, you're a little bit more like, I'll lay here for 20 minutes and then I'll get up and then get my day started and brush my teeth. And it just kind of, I don't know, it's just very different when, I don't know how people do it all the time, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it hasn't been nice. It's been wonderful. Like, I've loved it, every moment of it. But, like I said, I'm gearing up to travel and that in a few days, and that always kind of takes it out of you and kind of kicks you in the nads a little bit when you travel and blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm like, I leave Saturday morning to go to Adelaide, and then I'm not home until Tuesday night. That's a long time to be away from home for me. Like I'm not out of my house for that long. I have to leave my cat for that long. I'm not excited about leaving Giddy for that long. Like I understand, but like so I spend all day Saturday in Adelaide, then I stay in Adelaide Saturday night, and then off to Melbourne and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
and I got an early flight on Sunday too. Ooh.
Yeah, nice. Love that.
I got to be at the airport by like 4:30.
Ugh. We love that.
Mm.
Love a
But
nice
it was
early
like
morning.
it's like the worst though, because you know how flights work. It's like if you want it cheaper,
Yeah.
you got to travel early in the morning or really late at night. And I was like, well, the alternative is flying out at like 11 o'clock at night. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fly out at like I think it's like
Yeah.
6:30. I think my flight is. So like, ugh. But
Yeah.
whatever. I'm not a good flyer. I'm already stressing about flying. It's gonna be a whole thing. But I'm
You'll have
excited
Benny
to
Mac
go to
there with
Melbourne.
you. And he
Oh no,
is...
we're not flying
Oh,
together.
he's not flying with you.
Him and his girlfriend are going to fly in the evening, and then we're going to link up on Monday morning. So I've got a whole day in Melbourne of just trotting along, going for a little wander around. I like that though.
Oh yeah, I love Melbourne. Melbourne's a cool city.
Me too. There's a very small part of me that's just like I should just fly there and not come back.
Oh,
Ship my shit over.
Yeah.
I'm done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd love to live in Melbourne, but who knows?
if I was to live in
yeah.
Victoria, I would probably live in Geelong,
Oh yeah.
because it's like everything's there. It's basically a little city anyway, but it's only like
Yeah.
50 minutes away from Melbourne if you wanted to go to
Melbourne,
the footy or if you wanted to go to whatever. So
What are you talking about? You can go to the Cattery.
no, I'd rather be dead. So yeah, I mean, I love Melbourne. It's a cool city. I would say it's probably my favorite city in Australia.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite place to be. I just love it. The last time I was there for 5 days, and the people I was with were done with it. They were like, "I'm ready to get out of here." I was like, I could stay here for another however long. Like it's just a very fun place to be. And I'm like that day on Sunday. I know a few people over in Melbourne, and I have, reached out and been like, do you want to like link up and say hello and whatever? And that might happen, but it may not. I don't really care either way, because I'll just wander. Like I'll just go for a walk, and at some point I have to get to my hotel to watch a certain Survivor series. But other than that, I'm just kind of just, I'll grab a bite to eat and just kind of like whatever. Like, obviously there's going to be some time when I get into Melbourne before I can actually check into my hotel. So I'm just going to drop off my bags, and then, some people might hate that aspect of being like, oh, I've got no one to be with, and I've got to just I love it. Like I can't wait to explore and just be like, what's this place? But other than a little bit of Survivor Series War Games in my hotel, I'm just going to be himmer and hollering around,
Yeah. Quickly, what's your thoughts on War Games?
Like the concept of the
match
professional
itself.
wrestling match.
Yeah.
Love it.
Really?
Always have.
Okay.
Always have. As a kid, obviously War Games wasn't a thing in WWE, but doing my like research on wrestling, and as I gotten older, I watched like War Games in WCW, and I was like, this is cool. It's just visually different.
Okay.
And then when NXT started doing it, I was like frothing it. So yeah, I love it because it happens once a year, and it's different, and it's cool, and it's like they're never bad. Since they brought them back, they've never been bad. They've always been fun. And it's just different elements that you don't get. There's 2 rings. Like, what the fuck?
See,
I like it. They're always a little, they're a little gritty and a little rough, and I like that. So yeah, I've always appreciated them.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't hate it. I think that the camera's a bit off because they're not used to 2 rings, if you know what I mean. So the camera.
Yeah, but that's like a camera's off in a chamber, or in a
definitely.
even into a steel cage to a certain degree. Like it's just Hell in a Cell or whatever. So yeah, I've always I like when wrestling's different.
Okay.
Now, if you were to do this 6 times a year, I wouldn't be into it.
Yeah.
But you do it once a year, or twice a year, I guess technically, because there's 2 of them. But it's something different. Also, I like that the whole event, like, one match will be in one ring, and then the next match will be in the other ring. Like, I like that. That's cool. So yeah, no, I'm very, when wrestling looks a little bit different, when it is a little bit different, that's when listen, wrestling is something that I've watched for 21 years. there's not a lot of times where it's just like, it's, as much as I love it, it's all kind of the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're doing the same stuff. Do something different sometimes just to like, cool. You know what I mean? Like the Royal Rumble, I wouldn't like the Royal Rumble if it was done 6 times a year.
No,
it's fun
that's
because
right.
it's once a year and it's the best. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's the best day.
Yeah, it
But if you
is.
did that all the time, it's special. It's like Christmas Day. We all, like, a lot of us love Christmas. It's a great day. But if you do that multiple times a year, it takes the specialty away from it. So
we should do
it's like that.
we should do a live Royal Rumble episode because I friggin' love a Royal Rumble.
Probably the only time that I can, when people are like, do you want to like do a watch along for the Rumble? I'm like, I can't. I have a house full of people.
Yeah.
It's the only time where people are just like, I want to watch wrestling with you. I'm like, fuck yeah. Come on over.
And I'm also pumped because my all-time number one favorite ever wrestler is back this weekend. I friggin' love Randy Orton so much. I
need to get my brother-in-law on this show because you would just talk about Randy Orton for 2 hours. It's his favorite too.
I even like last night.
I like Randy.
Last night after Raw finished and they were like, Cody did his whole like trying to be suggestive, but like basically saying it's Randy. I was like, I need to watch some Randy matches. So I was like Googling what's the best Randy. But I had to get the in Legacy days as well so that Cody was there because I love me some Cody as well. But
Randy, I've always, I don't know. He's never been my favorite, but I've never disliked Randy. He's always just been kind of like, this is cool. My favorite, this is like wrestling tangent. I know one day we'll do an inevitable, just complete wrestling episode, I'm sure. But if you want to know how we need to watch wrestling together, right? My favorite Randy Orton match ever is him and Mick Foley, Backlash 2004.
I'll go watch it.
Hardcore match.
I'll go watch it. Backlash 2004.
It's a good friggin'.
Okay. Yeah, I watched the
it's very good.
WrestleMania 25 last night. Him versus Triple H after he DDT.
I hate that match.
DDT.
I was only talking about that match yesterday.
Stephanie McMahon and then kissed her, which was how you going? But
how you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
How you doing there, Steph?
Kissed her, unconscious woman. But
why Triple H is just watching all?
Yeah. But yes, he's my favorite. I just love how slow and methodical he is, and everything's planned with Randy.
Randy's a good time.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he's back.
Me
so
too.
For anyone that does like wrestling,
but I think
I'm sure you will be watching War Games
there.
Hell yeah, I can't wait.
I think
Wrestling's
Randy's
ridiculous, and I cannot wait.
Him.
Probably on Cody.
Yeah, it'll be on Cody and Jay, and then it'll be a Cody Randy feud. Yeah,
there's a lot happening. Yeah, I'm very I'm very involved in wrestling at the moment to the point where I'm just like, that's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Which is a good feeling because it's been a long time since I've really honestly felt like that. But I'm like, I gear up for wrestling. I'm depressed that I cannot watch SmackDown on Saturday because I'm doing stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do I have to have plans for my birthday? I just want to watch SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm staying at old mate Benny Mac's house on Saturday night, so I'll take over his TV. I'll be like, we're watching this
I was going to
tonight.
say,
it's my birthday, bitch.
Your stuff. If you need to come here and watch it, then yeah.
But I'll be like, Ben, it's my birthday, bud. You got to do what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll just sit there and watch SmackDown. So I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm even like hooked on the Carlito Santos Escobar match at the moment. I'm like, get that into me. I've heard. How's the rumors circulating that CM Punk's returning this week?
I know. Oh my god. There's all of that leading into it, and it's just like there's a lot to sink your teeth into. If you're a person, by the way, that has kind of you're lapsed in wrestling where you're like, it got crap, I understand that you wanted to take a step back, but if you want to watch a WWE program at the moment, now's the time to tune in because 99% of everything is just like consistent and good.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing, I mean, the Raquel Nia Jax match last night was a bit going, but
I liked it.
Did you? See, I was actually going to play a game with you, but we're going to play it next week because I was going to go through your Twitter and try to pick out of context what you were tweeting about.
Oh yeah, because sometimes I just write "low."
Yeah, because there was one that was like, "This is a fun match," and I was like, "You were
what
like,
is that for?"
I was like, I bet you that's the triple threat tag team match, or the 4-way tag team match, the women's
The
one.
4-way tag, that was really good
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
It was really fun. It probably was about that, but it may not have been. I don't know. Out of context, I guess in the moment, I'm just like, hell yeah. Sometimes I just write random stuff though, and that doesn't make any sense 5 minutes later because you're like, well, what the fuck is this about?
Yeah.
But you know, please place it together, I guess. But yeah, if you're not into wrestling or you've kind of tuned out of wrestling over the last few years for whatever reason, now's a very good time just to get back in because a lot of stuff is just really, it's just fun, and we're getting into a good time of year. So I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure me and Ray could easily make this a wrestling podcast if we really wanted to. But I'm sure we'll have one of those episodes where we're just like, we're going to talk about wrestling. We understand it's not for everybody, but we're going to have a good time with it.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's probably enough from us. At Apples Oranges Pod. Follow our socials. Watch the YouTube link. Watch all of Josh's YouTube links. Tomorrow you're doing the stream early.
Well, yeah, because I'm away on Saturday, but by the time this airs, it's already aired. So go and watch it on YouTube.
That's right. So yeah, go watch that. Go watch all Josh's stuff, and stay tuned for my uncomfortable challenge where I try to become an influencer.
I'm going to hold you accountable that to next week.
I can't
Trust
wait.
me.
Please do.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right. See you, everyone.
Bye.